see how much kidnappers are taking from victims.
My thing is, government should all the stakeholders get that, and I think we get that. The 3% for the oil producing community is too low.
But the support that is needed, and once you get the support, your airline people will blossom.
This is Nigeria. You need to give people sense of belonging.
Good morning. Welcome to midweek edition of Inside Nigeria, reaching you on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Gogo, and with me in the studio this Wednesday morning is a public affairs analyst, syndicated columnist, a TV host, Mr. Jide Ojo. Mr. Jide Ojo, thank you once again.
It's a pleasure to have you with me, or to be with you, Winifred. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. We have 4 papers on our menu this morning for review. We'll be looking at leadership newspapers, sister publication, national economy, the Punch, and the last paper, the Pilot. We are flagging up with our staple, and that is Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership. On Leadership, cover this morning is still on 2023, and it says no electoral law, no election timetable, INEC wants. No electoral law, no election timetable, INEC wants. Says passage of B crucial to preparation. Who expedite action on B, says Senate President Lawal. Reps reconsider B today as Senate concludes consultation. 2023, no electoral law, no election timetable, INEC wants. This is on Leadership this morning. Mr. Jide Ojo, why is INEC speaking right now?
Well, I don't know. I don't work for INEC. In fact, I should say that INEC has scheduled stakeholders meeting for today at about now. I think it should be starting about now. Yesterday, the INEC chairman met with the political parties and said, yes, they are waiting. I think it's just the coinage. No electoral law, no election timetable. I think that's taken in the context of the fact that there is a positive vibe that this electoral act amendment will be pushed through. Because INEC didn't say this in 2018, that without electoral law, there would be 2019 election timetable. So it's a positive vibe that they have received, that the National Assembly will do the needful, will amend the relevant section of the law as espoused by the president in his communication to them, as well as the civil society that have articulated a number of cross-referencing gaps and clerical errors. I believe, in fact, there is a newspaper that even reported that they promised to pass the bill today.
Yes, I was.
But I am not sure that is accurate.
The Speaker of the House of Reps, Bajabiala, did say that. Yes, I always is a much.
Yes,
says that they were going to send the bill in February.
Well,
there was also another report that I saw too. That
why should they send the bill
sent
in
a
February?
wrong electoral amendment bill to the president. I don't know how true.
I didn't read that, but whatever it is, they should just get their acts together. I believe that what has been requested to be done is not a rocket science. Reinstates provision of Section 87 of the Electoral Act, which is in the extant Electoral Act 2010 as amended, which gives the political parties direct or indirect primary opportunity as the mode of their candidate selection process. That's the main crux. But the cross-referencing gaps and drafting errors, that 11 of them, that the civil society organizations have also identified. They have also likewise provided solution to those 11 cross-referencing gaps. What needs to be deleted, what needs to be rephrased, and all of that. So if and there is a joint committee of the National Assembly on electoral reform. So they can just take 2 days working with having the civil society as a technical committee drafted to them to help them sift through and read the bill again to be sure that it's error proof. And then by next week, they can transmit it back to the president. But if they don't do that, then it will show that there is a hidden agenda somewhere to frustrate electoral reform, which I think will not speak well or rub off well on the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari.
So as INEC is saying no electoral law, no election title, so in what way will the electoral law impinge on INEC's
You know what Anna is saying by this is that the electoral law is pertinent, is salient to its release of timetable. The timetable now will be, for instance, to guide the activities of the political parties, to guide INEC itself on what it's committed to doing. For instance, if INEC wants to do electronic voting or electronic transmission of results, they have to put it in their own timeline. That time for procurement. There's what is called election project plan. It's not published for the public to consume. It's not for public consumption. But I know as an insider that INEC has what is called election project plan. That EPP will say in greater details the timetable and timeline for each of those activities to do. The one that concerns the public is the one that will be published as timetable. That okay, primaries are to hold from so date to so date. Because let me take for instance, from what I learned, INEC wants party primaries to be concluded 6 months to election. If that will happen, it then change the paradigm from the current situation where nomination of candidate and everything ends 45 days to election. So if you are increasing the number of days to 6 months, that's 180 days. From 45 days, you know the timeline will definitely change. So that likewise, several other things that and that's why INEC is waiting with bated breath. Of course, it's not too late in the day. We already know the date for the elections anyway. February 18, 2023 and March 4, 2023. So we should just wait a bit. I'm very positive that between now and next month, the timetable will be out. And as well as, because INEC already has the privilege of what is a debate. And if they focus only, if National Assembly focus only on areas where there are issues, the general broad idea that INEC already has will fast track the entire process for it to release the timetable.
Okay, still on politics, we move over to the Punch newspaper. On the Punch cover this morning, it says APC zones chairmanship seat to North Central, list Southeast Fourth Secretary. APC, that is All Progressive Congress Party, zones chairmanship seat to North Central, list Southeast Fourth Secretary. But underneath the story is South to get deputy chair. We are confident of winning 2023 elections. Committee concludes other positions today, confirms February 26 convention date. That is so with this zoning, so what is your permutation from this zoning?
The permutation is that power is shifting to the south. I read the story earlier today. I read the full story. It is still speculative. They refer to a chieftain of the party in that story. It's not as if they mention names. And it is not yet published official position. But I think it's a scoop. You know, every newspaper likes scoop. be the one to break the story. So this is like a scoop that Punch is publishing to say that the chairmanship, and if you look at the majority of those who are willing to be the next chairman of APC, majority of them are from North Central,
Oh,
as
yes,
if
it's
they
true.
had the premonition that that's
Yeah,
the
it's
way.
true. That's
Because
what the
like the
candidate
senator that is coming from Niger, there is a former governor
of
Takwa
Nasarawa,
Bakura from
yes.
Nasarawa who has signifying interest. So it's not out of place. But what this tells me as a student of politics is that power is coming back to South in 2023. Because what the story also said, apart from the secretary, national secretary going to Southeast, is that all the position currently being held by the North
Mm.
will now go to the South. And the one that is currently being held by the South will now go to the North. So if that kind of swap is already taking place, which is what PDP also did, it then tells you that after this initial grandstanding and what the two dominant parties will still do is to shift power to the South. But there may not be a micro zoning, the kind of which I'm pushing for.
Yes.
The micro zoning is that you
The
now say
Southeast.
it's a particular zone in the South. For instance, like I'm pushing for an Igbo presidency
Yes,
now.
you have.
The party may not shift it to say we are supporting Igbo presidency, but that could be agreed to by the South. Among the three zones in the South, they can now say, my brother, please temper justice with mercy. Let us
But justice
be
and
the
equity.
for equity, justice, and fairness. Let's go. So that will be sorted out. That's what they call horse trading. There will be a lot of horse trading.
Yeah, you see that among those jostling for the post of presidency, they have been nursing their ambition since all this while. You think they are ready to back down now for just?
You see, nothing is impossible. In politics, it's about interest. You know, people are joining. There are people who have joined that I know has joined for purpose of negotiation.
Yes.
They know they already knew. It's like if any northern candidate now, like Wapanso now, if you now wanted to be president after Buhari, Buhari is from northwest Nigeria. Umar Musa Yar'Adua was from northwest Nigeria. So if Wapanso from Kano, which is northwest Nigeria, no, Nigerians, we are not mature to that level yet that we will not be mindful of where our next president comes from. For equity, justice, and fairness, power should shift to the south, and for me, further to the southeast.
Now that February 26th convention has been fixed as February 26th has been fixed as
Hallelujah.
convention date, what are the prospects?
The prospect is very bright. It shouldn't have been allowed to drag for this long. Initially, they said February 5, 2022. That was when it was shifted from December. They said, well, there are speculations that it was going to be February 5th. Unfortunately, it took the push by the youth in the party. You know, last week they addressed a conference here in Abuja at the Yar'Adua Center, where some of the youths, including the now resigned
DG
of
Progressive
Progressive Governance Forum, he was the keynote speaker at that event, where they said they want the national convention to hold as soon as possible, and that what Bode is doing is foot dragging over his own personal ambition to be vice president in 2023. But that has been laid to rest because it was even the Memana Boni that said yesterday at a women's conference here in Abuja that the convention will now hold on February 26th, which should give them some time to do a proper preparation, because they need this this NWC to be in place before the party primaries will hold, so that they will be on right side of the law. Right now, issues around the Manabuni being a sitting governor, also now signing as chairman of the party to nominate candidates to INEC is found out by law. The only saving grace he has, which has been the alibi of APC, is that it's a non-executive position, that he is not collecting salary. It's not like conflicting with his day-to-day administration of Yobe State. But that would be pushing their lucks too far. So it's better to do the right thing and ensure that a fit and proper political structure is available in APC to midwife the candidate nomination process in the lead of 2023 elections.
So away from politics, now we are moving over to business. And we are looking at the national economy, our sister publication. On the cover of National Economic this morning, it says energy stakeholders slammed federal government over $9.5 billion spent on moribund refineries. Energy stakeholders slammed federal government over $9.5 billion spent on moribund refineries.
Do you blame them?
On the rider, we have this. Can you zoom on the paper? Can you focus on the paper? The rider says doubt government sincerity, demand full payment of subsidy claims. Government will complete work on all refineries soon.
The question is, how soon is soon? How soon is soon? We are 9.5 billion. That's the thing you see President Kwame that made that statement. I've also read it earlier today. And he was saying, but I don't know why the labor unions or the workers union will be appropriating and reprobating at the same time. The federal government had wanted to sell up these refineries.
That's what I wanted to say.
You said they should not sell.
On strike, no.
And now they have spent 9.5 billion over the past how many years now? Nothing to show for it. Under the guise of turnaround maintenance. Now they have even gone to borrow more money to do turnaround maintenance of Port Harcourt as well as Warri and Kaduna refineries. We don't. That's why I say how soon is soon, because this administration will leave power whether it likes it or not by June next year or by May 29 next year. So if we do not have the refineries coming over, although when I read this story, there was no reference, not even one reference to Dangote refinery. And I think that is a factor in if the federal government intends to remove the fuel subsidy. Dangote refinery is a factor because the three modular refineries that they claim have been completed may not be able to meet our domestic demand for PMS. That's premium motor spirit, which is popularly known as petrol. We may not be able to meet it. We rely only on those three modular refineries. While another additional $1 billion, $1.5 billion was loaned to turn around Port Harcourt. They are giving end of 2022 for the completion. How soon is soon? What if they shift the goalpost? Meanwhile, the federal government is planning to remove the subsidy before June, which is doable. It's doable, but like I said,
the Senate said that the president has not communicated to them.
Well, there is no smoke without fire. The president doesn't have to tell the National Assembly. But what we do know, or what we have been told, is that there is no provision for subsidy in 2022 budget. If there is no provision, unless it comes by way of what do they call this budget, this other budget, supplementary budget. Unless it comes by way of supplementary budget, any expenditure to the effect of subsidizing will be an infraction of the law. Of course, they have been doing it under the guise of what NFPC always call under recovery. Under recovery of what? So the point is, if Dangote refinery comes on stream latest by March this year, and given the fact that it's one of the biggest in the world, 650,000 barrels of crude oil to be refined in one day. If that comes on board, it can wet and meet our domestic demand, save our foreign exchange because Dangote will not demand for dollars to pay for those goods. We can even be doing exchange with him. We don't have money, oh, you know we don't have money, but we'll give you crude for the equivalent of the amount you will help us to refine. You understand? So they did that. Previous administration did that with some construction company where they give them crude oil in payment for the cost of the construction work. So, but it has to be, all these arenas have to be tied up. I understand where the labor unions are coming from, is to save their own workers from the vagaries of economy. The economy is in a very bad shape. Just yesterday or 2 days ago, the federal government admitted that headline inflation is increasing and has increased first time in about how many months. So and it's double digits. It's now 15.6% headline inflation, and that is not good for us. The poverty rate is still at 3.3%. We are still the unemployment rate that is still at 3.3%. So what we are saying is that the challenge, Winifred, the challenge this poses to us is we do not even have money to fund the budget. So if you now want to do supplementary budget to pay for subsidy in 2022, that means additional 1 trillion estimated. That means our debt burden will still be higher. But if we are able to negotiate effectively with Dangote Refinery, and at least we have offer of first refusal, which is that, okay, you offer us, we are I'm ready to sell to Nigeria, but this is how much I'm interested in selling. Otherwise, if you are not willing to buy, I'll take it to Cameroon, I'll take it to Benin, I'll take it to Togo or Ghana. You can't stop it, even to any other part of the world. But I still believe that it's a patriot, even though somebody disagreed last week. Dangote is a patriot, and he knows if he proves stubborn, government can also pull some strings that will affect his business interests.
The former shares with in the Dangote refinery, does it mean that Nigerian too can also be earning from profits of the
Of course, that 20% equity share means that if he started making profit, the Nigerian government will but it wasn't for the purpose of profit sharing that 20% equity was bought. It was to be on the board and be part of the decision making, so that you are not just outsiders, in which case you don't even know what's going on within the industry. So that's the whole essence of buying that 20% equity share. For instance, if Nigerian government has had 20% equity share in Dangote Cement and is on board, how will cement be selling for 4,800 per But too much. And we are selling this same cement to the outside world. Oh, between Boa, Ibeto Cement, Boa Cement, and Dangote, they have formed themselves into oligopoly. And we shouldn't have expected that a bag of cement will sell for over 4,000 naira in Nigeria when the almost 100% of the raw material is locally processed. So, but
was banned.
but because government does not have any equity
So
in
import was not banned because of just to encourage.
yes, to encourage local industry, which is why I said this is part of what the federal government can do if Dangote wants to prove stubborn. That monopoly or oligopoly can be broken. They can license people to import cement from any part of the world, and they will flood the market, and nobody will buy. And it could be cheap. It will be cheaper because those other countries want to kill your local industry. That's the whole essence. They will not sell it cheaper in Nigeria than even in their own country because it's a long-term project, so that in the next 5 years, when Dangote is no more, Boa is no more, Ibeto is no more, they will now dominate the market and hike the price. Do you get it? Which is what they did to the textile industry. They were bringing in very cheap textile materials, so much so that the ones produced in Kaduna are no longer competitive. And people felt, this product from China is even of better quality and is less expensive, and that's how they killed all the local industries. So Dangote definitely, I know what I was saying last week when I said Dangote's patriotic zeal will be appealed to, and he has no choice. If he tries to prove stubborn, all those waivers that the federal government has given him, all the protection that his industries have been enjoying, the federal government can pull it off, and that means his business will suffer a lot of it.
Well, so let's go on a break. We'll be going on a break now. When we come back, we'll be looking at the last paper on our menu, and we'll be talking security. Don't go away. Stay tuned.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Welcome back. This is Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television. My name is Winnie Palugogo, and with me in the studio is Mr. Jide Ojo. Mr. Jide Ojo has so many caps on. He's a public affairs analyst, he's syndicated columnist, and he's a program.
Thank you very much for hosting.
Yes, we are taking our last paper today this morning, and that is Nigerian Pilot. Nigerian Pilot says declare full-scale war. Declare full-scale war. Senate asks federal government as a matter of urgency to declare full war against terrorists. Asks federal government to establish a military base at Shiroro and Kaima communities in Niger State. Regrets that these attacks continue unabated despite repeated assurances. Save 151,380 persons, mostly peasant farmers displaced by bandits in 2 years. Nigerian Pilot. Senate is asking federal government to declare full-scale war as a matter of urgency. But Mr. Jide, I think this is a call once too many. There has been several calls, incessant calls, strident calls on the federal government to declare war on terrorists. And given the fact that these bandits have been declared terrorists, so what happened to our
All those 12 super. It's a sign of weakness on the part of Nigerian state. You know why I say so? When let's assume two friends or neighbors want to fight, and all they do was verbal threat.
Yes.
I will beat you. I'm warning you. I'm telling you. Mind yourself. Oh, if you can fight, you will be the first aggressor.
Yeah.
You understand?
Of course.
But when you start saying, fella will say Nashakara, Nashakara Loje. So when you are saying, almost every week they are declaring full-scale war. Last week they said they've now that the court has pronounced them terrorists, we will see changes. What changes have happened? They went and invaded the the hometown of the former Tuko Buratai in Borno State. They even removed all the flags there. And they spot some of the places and all of that. They stormed that, I think it's Institute for War and Peace or something, or maybe it's even the university there. They stormed the place. There is a trending video to that effect. It was after they have said they have declared full-scale war against these bandits. Zulu, former, I said former, the current governor of Borno State said Boko Haram and Iswap insurgents have better
We saw
weapons.
the Niger State governor yesterday.
No, I'm even coming to
Okay,
that.
okay.
That Zulum said 2 local governments are currently under the control of Boko Haram and Iswap in Borno State. That's as of last week he said that the Boko Haram and Iswap have better weapons than the Nigerian military. Now, yesterday, the governor of Niger State was with the president, Governor Abubakar Bello, telling the president that in his state, in 17 days, about 300 people have been killed, 200 abducted, and about 50 attacks have taken place, including 3 Chinese nationals who have been taken kidnapped by bandits. And almost all the states in the northwest are badly affected, from Sokoto to Kebbi to Katsina to Zamfara down to Niger. And Adama, Yobe, and Borno have been there. And incidentally, you know, since 2009, when they said they declare state of emergency in those Bay states, we call them Bay State, BAY, Borno, Adama, and Yobe. The so-called state of emergency have been on since over 10 years now. But I went to Borno State last year. I was in Maiduguri in January of last year, and I interacted with locals, and they told me 5-6 kilometers outside of Maiduguri, you are not safe. So, but when you enter Maiduguri Township, it's like everything is normal. People are moving about, transportation. We went to a restaurant, we ate, and all of that. But somebody told me, among people I interviewed, that this is just for the capital. If you venture out of the capital, 5-6 kilometers, you are no longer safe. And so if the state of emergency has been on in Borno, Adama, and Yobe since about 2009, they've not lifted that state of emergency. What are we still doing? All this declaration of full-scale war, I believe, is just rhetorics based on fear and weakness. If you are powerful, you don't need to be making all this declare. What are you declaring? Somebody who is a bandit is a terrorist.
Yes.
Because you cannot be a bandit without being a terrorist. What does terrorism mean? You traumatize, you injure, you maim and kill people. So how is, in fact, one person can be an insurgent, can be a bandit, can be an armed robber, can be a rapist, can be so many things into war. It's what you do that will determine, in essence, who you are. If you limit yourself to rape, you are a rapist. If you abduct people for ransom, you are a kidnapper. If you engage in Islamic or terrorism, then you are an insurgent. So you can metamorphose into different things. But I think more importantly, if we know we have the arsenal, we know we have the wherewithal to deal with these people, you don't even need to be doing all this grandstanding in the newspaper.
Let me say, Jide, all the governors have come and we've been hearing from Katsina State Governor Ansari, we have Zamfara, Atawale, we have Niger State. I mean, what is happening? Why is there no political will to go against these terrorists?
I don't know. I wish I knew. The governor of Abubakar Bello said yesterday that they need to work collaboratively because this transborder crime, bandits will attack in southern Kaduna, move to Niger, move to Nasarawa. The ones in Zamfara will move to Niger because they share boundary. The one in Sokoto will move to Kebbi because they share boundary. So what we are saying is, and my own advice is, look, this is why the Southwest set up Amotekun Corps,
Yes.
which is a regional security outfit, because they realize that there are artificial boundaries.
And you
that
realize
exist.
that crime has reduced considerably.
Of course,
in
in the Southwest, considerably, Amotekun has been able to help in the rescue
Yes.
of many kidnapped victims, have been able to arrest a number of kidnappers and abductors, have been able to help in the curbing criminality, particularly the Amotekun Corps in Osun and in Ondo and Ekiti states. They've been very most effective in my own, maybe because they have
Yes,
media
they have.
presence. Maybe because they have more media presence. The one in Ondo, the one in Osun, and the one in Ekiti have more media presence than the one in Oyo, Ogun, and Lagos. But the most important thing is that they form the Southwest government form this regional security outfit because they know that they need to share intelligence. They have artificial boundary in between them. Did you know that it's just a river that cut off Oyo from Osun State? Once you cross Ashejire River, you are in Osun State if you are coming from Oyo, and vice versa. If you are coming from Osun State, once you pass Ikire, Akpomu, Ikoyi, the moment you cross the Ashejire River, you are in Oyo State. In fact, you'll just be looking at Coca-Cola bottling company plant in there. And that's what I'm saying is artificial. So just imagine a river. You cross this river, you are in another state. You are in another state. And the law enforcement territorial, it's just like when you are in Lagos. The Ojodubaga axis. I don't know how much of Lagos you know. Once you come down at Ojodubaga, you can walk to Ogun State from there because a part of that place is Ogun, a part is Lagos. So Lagos and Oyo, even if you come in through Ota to from Yanapaja Mero down to Ota, the moment you cross the toll gate, Ota toll gate, you are in Ogun State. And people live in Ogun and work in Lagos. So many people. In fact, now people are living in Oyo State and working in Lagos because of this trade now. People can commute. What I'm saying invariably is that there needs to be collaborative, multi-tier security cooperation. What I mean by that is that states have to work collaboratively together because the boundaries they are referring to is artificial. There is no brick, there is no fence that you use to demarcate where a state ends and another state begins. The same thing with local government. Local government, the other day, I was on election observation mission some years ago, and my team, we went from Buhari law school jam, and by the time we move a little further, they said we are in Tafa local government of Niger State. Then we are already in Niger State. In fact, we bust out at Niger State, then bust to the Kaduna expressway. We enter from Abuja here in Buhari. We are not even going through Zuba. We didn't even go through Zuba. So the boundaries are artificial, and people can easily commit crime in one community and move to the other. But the most important thing is that we need a comprehensive and holistic architecture, structure in fighting crime and criminality. And I've written several articles in my column about how we can deal with this. One, you cannot have a one-size-fits-all in dealing with the problem of insecurity. It has to be through hardware and software approach. What is the hardware approach? Recruit more soldiers, police, and law enforcement. Recruit more, train them, proper capacity building. Then, when you have done that, deploy them. Then you build more barracks, buy more weapons, build forensic laboratories, and all of those are hardware, including acquisition of military hardware like the 12 Super Tucano that we have grown. All of those are hardware approach. Now, which one is software? The software approach is dealing with the issue of the push factor. which is poverty and unemployment.
Yes, but talking about this non-kinetic factor. I remember a situation where most of these governors, like we had Otto, even Katsina State, even Erufa of Kaduna State, they had even engaged the bandits in order to offer solution, help them to desist, so that they will not take up arms. But they still decided to this.
Because it's more profitable to take them. It's more profitable to the bandits. How much are you giving them? Okay, you say, okay, don't go into the forest and kidnap people. But how much is they'll give you 50,000 naira.
So what I'm saying that they have tried this non-kinetic approach and it hasn't worked.
It has to be multi-pronged and it has to be it has to be sustained over a period of time. Now, this is it. People kidnap for ransom. Why? Because it's profitable for them to do so.
Like Baptist just said, they are paid over 250 million
for ransom. Now, look at that. So when you hear that in the news, why will you not want to take to ransom? So when you say you collect amnesty, you are getting 50,000 naira every month, which does not meet your daily needs. So you look at it, and then because of the wrong-headed policy of giving amnesty to these people, because if the state has the capacity to deal with them, you should put them on trial and send them to jail. You understand?
That's another issue.
But how many of them? How many of them are?
They still go about freely. They
Yes, now because they will say they are repentant, and then you give them amnesty.
So that brings me to another question: is it that our judicial system is not overhauled enough to take care of all this?
You know, our judicial system is overwhelmed. Let's face the truth. We do not have full complement of judges at all the layers of judiciary. And that's it. There are supposed to be 21 Supreme Court justices. I think the last time I checked, it was they have about 13. So many supposed to be filled there. Court of Appeal, there are supposed to be 70 because they have created additional divisions all over. They are supposed to be 70. But if you take the tally, it may just be like 50-55, which is not giving you full complement. Then the federal high court, the state high court are equally not well resourced. And when I say well resourced, I'm not even talking of personnel alone. Because beyond the judges that will dispense the judges, there are also bureaucracy that will support that system. There are supposed to be court clerks, the bailiff, and other auxiliary staff that will help in processing and documentation and archiving and all of that. Just recently, I think it's here in Abuja, they tried the virtual court where they said they will now do virtual court session to also fast track and expedite the dispensation of justice. And there is also this angle of our correctional centers awaiting trial inmates. You know, some people, they just commit petty crime, maybe stealing and all of that. You put them in that correctional center for years, for offense that even if they are to be speedily convicted, could just be like 6 months in prison or with option of fine. If there is no debt involved, it's that the court is at the discretion to give option of fine. But what do we see? That is what has incentivized jailbreak. People are kept in jail for extended period, even more than the number of years they would have spent if they were to be convicted of the crime that have been leveled against them. Look at Nnamdi Kanu now. His trial, like Michael Zekoman, SON said yesterday, that it is now the sixth time that the prosecutor is amending charges against Nnamdi Kanu. So if they are not ready, they don't know the full weight of the charges to level against him. Why did they put him on trial? 6 times in less than 2 years. Every time you amend. And today is 7 counts. Now it's 15 count charges. Now, let's get serious for once. We need to overhaul our judiciary. Like I said, it's not just about the judges. Even support staff have to be trained. There have to be enough equipment for them to work. You have to also incentivize them. Don't forget, last year, state judiciary staff, they went to Jusun, Jusun, they call themselves, judiciary staff. They went on strike last year because of issue of financial autonomy, which the governors have been resisting. Only very few governors have allowed that the financial autonomy for state judiciary and state legislature. Yet we have high courts, we have customary courts, we have Sharia courts. We have all these people are under the state, and if you are not giving them the needed resources, they will be overwhelmed, and there is not much, because it's one thing to take evidence and all of that, even to write judgment. There are judgments that last for as many as 8 hours, 12 hours judgment. I don't think I've had about 12 hours, but 6-8 hours judgment to reading judgment. Just imagine what you will read.
2019 tribunal.
Election petition tribunal. 6 hours.
It took us.
Just imagine how many pages of documents you will read for that length of time. Just to show how painstaking you will need to be in giving judgment. Some judgments is as big as a encyclopedia. And somebody have to write it. They have to type it. They have to proofread it. So suppose that. But what we are saying is that there must be a disincentive for people to go into crime, and that's punishment. If you are not punishing crime,
Yes.
more people. Okay, look at Operation Safe Corridor. They say Operation Safe Corridor, Operation Safe Corridor. 8,300 ISWAP and Boko Haram members have surrendered under the de-radicalization and the reintegration program. But go and ask Senator Ali Ndume. He will tell you that these people, it's just like somebody who wanted armistice. Armistice is truce, temporary truce. While you gather your strength. Okay, we are not fighting again. We are not fighting again because you're tired. So when you regain strength, you know, no, we have to continue our fight. And that's why many of the so-called repentant Boko Haram and ISWAP members, after they have been so-called de-radicalized and incentivized, they still go back. They still went to cause maximum damage in many of the communities to which they have been reintegrated. So we need to get our acts right. But I think we need both the kinetic and non-kinetic approach. Simultaneously, they have to work. Beyond that, it's also the fact that we need to tackle the two monsters of unemployment and poverty, because those are the push factor that makes people to lure them into crime. And look at many of our youth now, because they have sought job without to know it. Many of them are now taken to internet scamming. You know, Yahoo plus money ritual and all of that. And that's as bad as any crime.
So bad that I read a report recently that a mother and a son, they went to the herbalist and they killed their other son.
Yes, now to make money. I read it last week. The son said the mother was like 50, is it 15 or 21-year-old brother that they can use this one now to make money now. The mother. That's to tell you how desperate people are. So it's not about, but we need to resolve this issue of unemployment and poverty, because in as much as that is spiking, even if you want to kill every one of those bandits, there will be more people that will take their place. Because as far as they are concerned, when they are alive, what are they living for?
You know, it's so unfortunate that if you are not reading of insecurity situation, you are reading of ritualists, and it's always within family members.
It's always like that now.
It's parallel.
In fact, did you not read about one in Zimbabwe, son of a lecturer who Plateau?
Yes,
I think it's
yes,
in Plateau. He
Plateau.
ran to
Yes.
Benue. He killed his girlfriend, removed the eyes and some other vital parts, and ran away from the hotel where they lodged. In fact, I saw the video where they were vibing, in a car on the way to the hotel.
That is the story we keep saying.
So he killed the lady, 21-year-old 300 level students in Plateau, I think University of Jos or Plateau State University, and then the guy ran to Benue, feigning that he's mad. They cut off his and what. But you know, this is a lesson. Some people will say end of the world. I mean, what's it called? Armageddon is about to happen. But this has been happening from the days of my grandparents. And there will be more because you know water will find its level. In as well as people are suffering a lot of deprivation, a lot of hunger. You know, even in the Bible, the disciples of David, they went to another person's farm to pluck grains and eat because they were hungry. And you just imagine that when you are hungry, an hungry man is an angry man. So the bitterness that many who took to crime, it's not everybody that is long suffering. Look at me here. People will see me in suit, but they don't know what is underneath this suit. They don't know the challenges that one faces. But you see, when you have hope, you are living on that hope that, okay, today may be rough, tomorrow will be better. But it's not so for many people. For many people in the communities that even their families have abandoned as never do well, many of them will say, even when I'm alive, what kind of living am I having? So let me just do what a man does and make money. Even if I enjoy it for 1 month, I will know I didn't die a wretched man. And so people take to extreme measures. And that's what also pushed people to commit suicide. You understand? There is a case I read earlier today of a young man who committed suicide over indebtedness. So people also do that. It's too extreme. It's either they take to crime or they end up taking their own lives or get involved in all manner of vices